Today I'm going to tell you about the United States Declaration of Independence. The United States Declaration of Independence is the statement adopted by the Second Continental Congress, meeting at the Pennsylvania State House, now known as Independence Hall, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on July 4, 1776. By the time that the Declaration of Independence was adopted, in July 4, 1776, the 13 colonies in Great Britain had been at war for more than a year. Relations had been deteriorating between the colonies and the mother country since 1763. Parliament enacted a series of measures to increase revenue from the colonies, such as the Stamp Act of 1765 and the Townshend Act of 1767. Parliament believed that these acts were a legitimate means of having the colonies pay their fair share of the cost to keep them in the British Empire. As was the custom, Congress appointed a committee to draft a preamble to explain the purpose of the resolution. John Adams wrote the preamble, which stated that because King George had rejected reconciliation and was hiring foreign mercenaries to use against the colonies, it is necessary that the exercise of every kind of authority under the said crown should be totally suppressed. Adams' preamble was meant to encourage the overthrow of the governments of Pennsylvania and Maryland, which were still under proprietary governments. Congress passed the preamble on May 15th after several days of debate, but 4 of the middle colonies voted against it, and the Maryland delegation walked out in protest. Support for a Congressional Declaration of Independence was consolidated in the final weeks of June of 1776. On June 14th, the Connecticut Assembly instructed its delegates to propose independence, and the following day, the legislators of New Hampshire and Delaware authorized their delegates to declare independence. In Pennsylvania, political struggles ended with the dissolution of the Colonial Assembly, and a new conference of committees under Thomas McKean authorized Pennsylvania's delegates to declare independence of June 18th. The Provincial Congress of New Jersey had been governing that province since January of 1776. They resolved on June 15th that Royal Governor William Franklin was an enemy to the liberties of this country and had him arrested. On June 21st, they chose new delegates to Congress and empowered them to join a Declaration of Independence. Political maneuvering was setting the stage for an official Declaration of Independence, even while a document was being written to explain the decision. On June 11, 1776, Congress appointed a committee of 5 to draft a declaration consisting of John Adams of Massachusetts, Benjamin Franklin of Pennsylvania, Thomas Jefferson of Virginia, Robert R. Livingston of New York, and Robert Sherman of Connecticut. The committee took no minutes, so there is no uncertainty about how the drafting process proceeded. Contradictory accounts were written many years later by Jefferson and Adams, too many years to be regarded as entirely reliable. Although their accounts are frequently cited, what is certain is that the committee discussed the general outline, which the document should follow, and decided that Jefferson would write the first draft. The committee in general, and Jefferson in particular, thought that Adams should write that document, but Adams persuaded them to choose Jefferson and promised to consult with him personally. Considering Congress's busy schedule, Jefferson probably had limited time for writing over the next 17 days, and he likely wrote the draft quickly. On July 2, 1776, South Carolina reversed its position and voted for independence. In the Pennsylvania delegation, Dickinson and Robert Morris abstained, allowing the delegation to vote 3-2 in favor of independence. The tie in the Delaware delegation was broken by the timely arrival of Caesar Rodney, who voted for independence. The New York delegation abstained once again, since they were still not authorized to vote for independence, although they were allowed to do so a week later by the New York Provincial Congress. The Resolution of Independence was adopted with 12 affirmative votes and 1 abstention, and the colonies officially severed political ties with Great Britain. John Adams wrote to his wife on the following day and predicted that July 2nd would become a great American holiday. Congress next turned its attention to the committee's draft of the Declaration. They made a few changes in wording during several days of debate and deleted nearly a fourth of the text. The wording of the Declaration of Independence was approved on July 4, 1776, and sent to the printer for publication. The Declaration became official when Congress voted for it on July 4th. Signatures of the delegates were not needed to make it official. The handwritten copy of the Declaration of Independence that was signed by Congress is dated July 4th, 1776. The signatures of 56 delegates are affixed, However, the exact date when each person signed it has long been the subject of debate. Jefferson, Franklin, and Adams all wrote that the Declaration had been signed by Congress on July 4th, but in 1796, signer Thomas McKean disputed that the Declaration had been signed on July 4th, 1776, pointing out that some signers were not then present, including several who were not even elected to Congress until after that date. After Congress approved the final wording of the Declaration of July 4th, a handwritten copy was sent a few blocks away to the printing shop of John Dunlap. Through the night, Dunlap printed about 200 broadsides for distribution. Before long, it was being read to audiences reprinted in newspapers throughout the 13 states. The first formal public reading of the document took place on July 8th in Philadelphia by John Nixon in the yard of Independence Hall. Trenton, New Jersey, and Easton, Pennsylvania, the first newspaper to publish it was the Pennsylvania Evening Post on July 6th. A German translation of the Declaration was published in Philadelphia by July 9th. President of Congress John Hancock sent a broadside to General George Washington, instructing him to have it proclaimed at the head of the army in the way you shall think it most proper. Washington had the Declaration read to his troops in New York City on July 9th, with thousands of British troops on ships in the harbor. Thanks for watching this Adventurous Kids episode.